Have you ever felt sort of caught in a current, pulled along by desires, expectations, maybe wishing there was a short tattoo, like real clarity, lasting peace? What if that path, the path to understanding, wasn't about adding more, but actually about, well, going against the stream?
That's a really fascinating question, isn't
Yeah.
it? And it's right at the heart of what we're exploring in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We're digging into some pretty profound insights today,
Mm.
all about the human experience, enlightenment.
And our main source here is, well, it sounds remarkable, Going Against the Stream by this revered Buddhist monk, Phra Ācariya Thoon Khippapañño.
That's the one. Very practical, really a guide for Dhamma practice.
Okay.
But it pushes beyond just, basic calm mind meditation. It emphasizes wisdom.
Developing wisdom, okay, and understanding attachments, how we get tangled up.
Exactly. Understanding those invisible threads that tie us to the world, and importantly, how to gently start untangling them.
So our mission today for you listening is really to pull out the core nuggets here.
Yeah, we want to unpack the difference between these meditation types, why this wisdom development piece is so crucial.
And how you can maybe apply these ideas to get a clearer view of your own mind, your own world. You might have some real aha moments.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It could shift how you see things day to day.
So where do we start with this idea of going against the current? What's the core concept?
Well, at its heart, the book says our natural tendency as people is just to get swept along, caught up in the stream of the world, as it calls it.
Right. Desires, expectations, just the flow.
Exactly. And to find real truth, enlightenment, you actually have to struggle against that current. You have to consciously go against it.
And right away, the author, Longpo Thoon, he flags something really important, a common mistake, he says.
Yes, a major one. He draws a very sharp line between two approaches that can look similar on the surface.
Okay.
There's tranquility meditation, samatha. Its goal is basically a calm mind.
Yeah.
Simple enough. But then there's wisdom development, vipassanā. And this requires wisdom that goes, well, way beyond just being calm.
Ah, so they're not the same goal at all.
Not at all. And mixing them up or thinking wisdom just pops out of calmness. That's where people fail in their practice, according to the author.
So what is the foundation for success then, if it's not just calmness?
It really comes down to your own resolve, your earnestness, how serious you are about it.
That personal commitment.
Right, that commitment is the bedrock for mindfulness. You can go through the motions without it, sure, but you won't see real progressive results.
Okay, so let's start with samatha, the tranquility methods. If wisdom is the ultimate aim, why bother starting with just calmness? What's its role?
Good question. The book's clear. Samatha isn't there to directly create wisdom. It has two main jobs.
Which are?
One, to practice and build up consistent mindfulness, and two, to strengthen that deep resolve we just talked about.
Ah, okay, so it's like prep work.
Exactly. Preparing the ground, making the mind stable and strong enough for the deeper work of wisdom later.
The book gets very specific about practices like the kakamo walk, walking meditation. It's not just wandering around, is it?
No, not at all. It's quite structured. You set up a specific path, maybe 15 meters long, level ground.
Okay.
And before you even start walking, you stand at one end, hands in the way position.
Palms together.
Yeah, between the eyebrows or at the chest. And you silently establish this really deep intention.
An intention for the walk.
A very specific one. Reverence for the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, parents, teachers, everyone who's helped you. You wish for a tranquil mind, enlightenment, and even extend the merit to all other beings.
Wow, that's quite comprehensive. It sets a very different tone than just going for a walk.
It really does. It aligns your whole being. Then you lower your arms, right hand over left, find a neutral mind state. And the book talks about using parikama words.
Parikama words, like mantras.
Sort of, yeah. Simple, silent repetitions like bud on the inhale, do on the exhale. You do this for Buddha, then Dhammo, then Sangho.
Oh, no, silently reciting these.
Silently. Maybe 3 to 7 cycles until the words feel integrated. Then, for the actual walking meditation, you often just stick with Buddha.
Okay, so once you've done that prep, how does the walking itself work? Method 1.
Method 1 focuses right on the steps. You walk with that resolve, that concentration. Step 1, silently recite bud.
Okay.
Step 2, silently recite ho. Repeat.
Yeah.
You're synchronizing every step with the sound. Normal walking pace. If your mind wanders, you just gently restart.
And you walk to the end of your path, turn right, and repeat.
Exactly. Turn mindfully. Continue back.
What about method 2?
Method 2 shifts the primary focus to the breath while still walking. You're focusing on breathing in and out, reciting bud on the inhale,
Oh.
flow on the exhale.
So breath focus, but still walking and reciting.
Right. The aim is to maintain that mindfulness and synchronization really strongly. Build up tranquility. If you get tired, the book says you can just stop walking, but continue the breathing and reciting while standing still.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, method 3 sounds different. Focusing on a body part.
Yeah, this one's interesting. You imagine an organ or a body part, skin, bone, the whole skeleton maybe, and you hold its image in your mind as your meditation object.
You mentally stare at it.
That's the word the text uses, yeah. Stare intently at the mental image based on its actual characteristics, size, location, color, texture. You might even use a parikamma word for the part, like tako for skin or akai for bone.
What's the purpose of staring at, say, your kneecap?
It sounds odd out of context, but it serves as a crucial foundation for Dhamma contemplation later. It provides a stable, concrete object for the mind. It anchors the attention.
So it's still about tranquility, but preparing for something else.
Exactly. Preparing the mind to eventually look at the body's true nature, impermanence, not self, which is vipassana.
Got it. And method 4, this one tackles emotions directly.
Right. Any emotion that comes up crude, subtle, pleasant, unpleasant, worldly, Dhamma-related, you perceive that as your meditation object.
So you focus on the feeling itself.
Yes. And here's the really key point for this stage. You actively avoid looking for the cause of the emotion right away.
Why not? Isn't finding the cause important?
Eventually, yes. But at this initial tranquility stage, the book warns that digging into the cause can actually just stir things up more, aggravate the emotion.
Ah, okay. So what do you do instead?
You focus purely on the feeling itself. Observe its quality, its intensity. The goal is to weaken its strength directly by starving it of the attention you'd normally give its story or cause. It's like facing it head on.
The text calls it an inner war, needing maximum mindfulness.
It does. You're training the mind to observe and manage these powerful states with focused awareness, evaluating for things like greed or anger, and using mindfulness and determination to keep them in check.
That's a very active form of tranquility practice. Then, after the walk, you pause, set an intention again.
Right. Before stepping off the path, hands in way, another sincere wish similar to the starting one. Then mindfully find a place for sitting meditation.
And the preparation for sitting sounds just as deliberate. Clear the space, maybe chant.
Yes, clear away potential distractions. Chanting helps cultivate positive states like loving kindness. And importantly for lay practitioners, undertaking the 5 moral precepts.
The ethical guidelines, why are they so crucial here?
They ensure a foundation of self-purity. If your mind is agitated by guilt over past unskillful actions, it's very hard to settle down. So you affirm your commitment silently or aloud, Pali or English, to abstain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and intoxicants.
It cleans the slate mentally before you begin.
Precisely. You start with the Namo Tassa, homage, the refuges, the precepts themselves, concluding with Imani Paññā Sikappadani Samadhyami, and 3 bows. It's about being honest with your intention to practice ethically.
Then you focus on past merits, not bad deeds, to foster joy.
Yes, cultivate a bright, positive mind state. Then find your posture. Men typically right leg over left, women can do the same, or fold legs underneath. Comfort is key. Upright spine.
And again, forming a true resolve.
Crucial. Sadhu, I intend to sit in meditation to revere. Similar to the walking resolve. Sit upright, right hand over left on the lap, mind focus, deliberately avoiding stray thoughts, especially unwholesome ones. Meditation requires that deliberateness, that mindfulness.
Okay, so now we're sitting. Method 1 sounds familiar, breath and parikamma words.
Yep, same principle. Mindful, focused breathing. Inhale bud, exhale do. Maybe cycle through Buddho, Dhammo, Sago 3 to 7 times, then stick with Buddho. Breathe normally.
Train to synchronize breath and recitation, build domineering mindfulness.
That's the goal.
Right.
Eventually, if you get skilled, you might even drop the parikamma words and just focus on the breath.
Method 2 then goes deeper into breath control.
Yes, focusing intently on controlling the in and out breath, observing all its stages from crude down to very fine and subtle.
Aiming for that ekaggata mensa state, a single fine point of focus.
Exactly. A state of soul, fine emotion, or focus. And in this state, some interesting things can happen physically, or seem to happen.
Like what?
Sensations of the body swelling, shrinking, getting taller or shorter, spinning, leaning. The book says these are just the mind's reactions as it settles.
Nothing to be scared of.
No. It also mentions that sometimes the breath becomes so shallow or the body sense so faint, it feels like they're gone. Again, not fear, but a sign of full calmness.
And this can lead to a really pleasant state, luminous, weightless.
Yes, a bright, clear, wonderful state of mind, sometimes described as an aureole or brightness, lasting maybe 10 minutes or so. It brings deep happiness.
But, and this seems like the big but, this is where the critical warning comes in.
This is the absolute crux of it. So many people meditate, reach this deep calm, this bliss, and they expect wisdom to just arise from it.
And it doesn't?
The author is emphatic. No, it does not. Calmness is calmness. Wisdom is wisdom. They're different processes.
So that happiness, or even those potential psychic powers the text mentions, avijjā, mind's eye, inner ear stuff.
Right, kakunya, sodonya, maybe even mind reading. The text says these can arise from deep calm, but they are not wisdom. They are not enlightenment.
And they can be a trap.
A huge trap. People can get addicted to the blissful states or deluded by the powers, thinking they've reached the end goal, that they're an arahant, a fully enlightened noble one.
Which they aren't.
Not even close, necessarily.
Yeah.
The book uses that powerful story of the 30 monks in the Buddha's time to hammer this home.
Right, they achieved deep calm, thought they were arahants.
They did. They were convinced. But the Buddha, knowing better, sent them to a charnel ground. They saw a fresh corpse there, unclothed.
And what happened?
It provoked intense erotic lust in them, instantly shattering their delusion. They realized how far they still were from true purity.
Wow. So what did they do then?
Then, faced with that raw reality, they used their ordinary, common wisdom to contemplate that corpse. They applied the three characteristics, impermanence, suffering, non-self, to what they were seeing.
They engaged in vipassana practice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actively contemplating the nature of that body. And that is what led them to genuine enlightenment.
The lesson being?
That without competent teachers or the actual practice of wisdom contemplation, people get stuck, trapped in states of calm mind. Unprocessed arahants, the text calls them.
Waiting for wisdom to grow from calm is like expecting a tree without planting a seed.
Perfect analogy. Tranquility alone just isn't sufficient. It's necessary groundwork, but it's not the whole building.
Okay, that's crystal clear. So method 3 for sitting meditation, the body part staring, fits into this preparation phase too.
Precisely. Just like the walking version. Mindful, focused, imagine a part, maybe a scar this time, something specific. Stare at its mental image.
Holding the mind still, letting it rest and gain strength.
Exactly. It creates a boundary, a stable point. It prepares the mind for the much deeper, sometimes challenging contemplation of the body's true nature, its decay, its composition.
And sitting method 4, focusing on emotion, how does that differ from the walking version?
The stillness of sitting allows for even clearer perception, especially of subtle emotions. But the purpose here shifts significantly from the tranquility stage.
How so?
Now, you don't just observe the emotion to weaken it, you actively investigate its cause. Where is this greed coming from? What's the root of this anger, this lust?
So now you are looking for the origin.
Yes. You're hunting for the source of the defilements. Like a soldier finding the enemy's position, or a hunter tracking prey. You want to find the cause quickly to cut off the bridge for defilements.
So the mind duels with emotions using concentrated mindfulness, looking for vulnerability.
Exactly. It's still an inner war, but now the goal is strategic. Find the enemy's army camp and dismantle it by understanding its origin.
This leads us directly into vipassana proper, doesn't it? This perceptive method for contemplating with wisdom.
It does. The book says this perceptive knowledge, this wisdom, arises from those tranquility methods that focused on the body and emotions methods 3 and 4. They lay the groundwork.
And the purpose of contemplating the body with wisdom is?
It's multifaceted and profound. To show the mind the body's true nature, shattering our illusions about it.
To eliminate narcissism, our vanity.
Yes. And fundamentally, to realize the body is not self, that it's not me or mine in an ultimate sense. This realization is what allows us to cut off attachment to it.
Because most people just assume the body is self.
Absolutely. It's the default assumption, born from a lack of this kind of deep, rigorous contemplation.
How does recollection, Sanya, fit into this wisdom part?
Recollections, sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, even thoughts. They become the very objects of our contemplation. We have to take these memories, these perceptions, and examine them through the lens of the 3 characteristics.
Impermanence, suffering, non-self, anicca, dukkha, anatta.
Right. Are these experiences permanent? Are they truly satisfying? Are they ultimately controllable or identifiable as a permanent self?
And if we don't use recollections this way?
Then, the book warns, they just fuel defilement and suffering. We get tricked by our own minds, seeing the unpleasant as pleasant, the impermanent as lasting, the non-self as self. Applying the three characteristics cuts through that deception.
So practically, how do you contemplate the body like this? Give us a sense of the process.
It's quite systematic and requires effort. You contemplate the body part by part, piece by piece.
Like mentally dissecting it.
In a way, yes. Examining the properties of each part, its earth element, water, air, fire. Visualizing its inevitable decay, rotting, flesh falling away, leaving just bones.
That sounds intense.
It is. It's meant to be.
Yeah.
You confront the body's inherent suffering, the constant aches, pains, aging, illness, death, seeing it all as inseparable from having a body right from conception.
Seeing the body as a lump of suffering.
That's the phrase used. Something inherently perishable, requiring constant upkeep, constant struggle, just to maintain it for a while.
And considering its worthlessness once the spirit leaves.
Right. Who wants a corpse? You couldn't give it away. Comparing your own body to others, living or dead, human or animal, seeing the same basic components, the same inevitable end.
This isn't just intellectual understanding, is it?
No, absolutely not. This real knowing and real seeing comes from dedicated, earnest, detailed contemplation. Hands-on mental work, not just reading about it.
And this same lens applies to possessions, too.
Definitely. Apply the three characteristics. See how attachment causes suffering when things break, get lost, or just from the anxiety of protecting them.
You can even use everyday life things.
Anything. People laughing, crying, seeing roadkill, watching a fire burn, a whirlpool in water. Anything can become an object for seeing impermanence, suffering, and non-self if you apply wisdom.
Which really highlights the difference between just knowing facts, worldly knowledge, and this insightful wisdom.
Totally different. Worldly knowledge is memorization. This wisdom is about analyzing, discerning, seeing the underlying truth of phenomena using the three characteristics. It transforms information into insight.
And it has to be hands-on. The theory, the Dhamma map, is useful, but not enough.
Not nearly enough. The story of Phra Ācariya is perfect here.
The learned monk who knew everything but couldn't practice.
Exactly. He knew all the scriptures, incredibly knowledgeable, but had zero practical application. He ended up having to learn the practice from a 7-year-old novice monk who actually did it.
It shows how theory alone can even lead to conceit, right? Like giving a mirror to someone blind.
A great analogy from the text. Dhamma practice is like eating. You have to actually do it yourself to get nourished. You can't just read recipes.
So you have to be your own cook, your own physician.
Yes, rely on your own effort to self-examine, self-diagnose, self-cure from this cycle of birth, aging, illness, and death.
Wisdom, then, is incredibly active, not passive at all.
Constantly active. Is teaching the mind, showing it the downsides of this endless cycle. And crucially, it's not scheduled. You apply it the moment defilements arise.
Don't wait until the cattle have already eaten the rice.
Exactly. Don't string the fence afterwards. Enlightened ones, the noble ones, they use wisdom and mindfulness constantly, guarding the mind, seeing all sights, sounds, smells, tastes, touches through that lens of the three characteristics.
And wisdom analyzes emotions, too, like a thermometer for the mind.
Yeah, it gauges the level of impurity, the level of craving. The emotion itself isn't the defilement, but it reflects it. Wisdom investigates the cause of the emotion, searching for the root, the gang leader.
Which is ignorance, avijjā.
That's the ultimate culprit, according to this teaching. Lack of knowledge of the truth, blindness.
A blind mind that can't see the true nature of things.
Right. It leads to delusion, repeating the same patterns of suffering in the same old world, but thinking it's new each time, like being pulled around by the nose, never getting tired of the cycle because you don't truly see it.
And wisdom vijja is the bright light that cuts through that darkness.
It's the light that lets the mind finally see clearly what's right and wrong, what leads to suffering, and what leads to freedom.
The text mentions levels of wisdom, right? A progression.
Yes, 3 main types. First, Suthamaya Paññā, wisdom from hearing or learning the theory. Useful, but basic.
Okay.
Second, Cintamaya Paññā, wisdom from thinking about it, contemplating it intellectually, using theory as a guide. Deeper.
And the third?
Bhavanamaya Paññā. This is the key one. Wisdom gained from contemplation plus mind development, from actually making it happen within yourself. This doesn't just arise from calm mind, it's actively cultivated.
And this active cultivation includes contemplating the 5 aggregates, the khandha.
Yes, seeing the corporeal form, rupa, as just elements, and seeing feeling, vedana, memory, sanya, competent thought, sakhara, and consciousness, viññā, as these sort of light-like mental reflections, not solid selves.
Memory sanya gets special mention for creating alluring thoughts, embellishing things.
It does. It often cooks up these perfect illusions of pleasure based on past sensory input, which just intensifies defilements like craving and attachment.
Which leads to the point about happiness. It's impermanent, often mixed with suffering.
Exactly. No absolute lasting happiness exists in the mundane world, according to this view. It's always conditional, always fleeting, often has a hidden hook of suffering.
So seeking happiness without understanding suffering is pointless.
It's futile. The profound insight is, if we want happiness, we must use the trail of suffering as the walking path, meaning you have to understand suffering deeply to find true, lasting peace beyond it.
And the mind is the ultimate knower in all this.
Only the living mind perceives and knows. Emotions arise in the mind, reflecting its state, like a diagnostic tool.
When wisdom becomes really refined, it leads to Nibbāna, seeing and knowing simultaneously.
Yes, a mind with that level of wisdom can contemplate anything internal, external, past, present, future, and see its true nature, the three characteristics, instantly. That clear seeing purifies the mind. Paññā parisujjati. Defilements have nowhere left to hide.
And this leads to the arising of vipassanā-ñāṇa.
Right. This is that keen wisdom and cognitive intellectual mind that fully understands reality. It's pointed, penetrating, decisive knowledge. It doesn't rely on guesswork or just theory anymore. It knows.
And this vipassanā-ñāṇa reveals the cause of the whole cycle of rebirth, the vata.
It does. It pinpoints ignorance, avijjā, as the ultimate perpetrator. It lays bare that whole chain of dependent origination we talked about earlier.
Ignorance causing compounded thought, causing consciousness.
Causing name and form, sensory receptors, contact, feeling, craving, attachment, becoming, existence, and finally birth, leading right back to aging, illness, death, and all suffering.
Just a relentless cycle driven by attachment and craving.
Endlessly repeating. Seeking worldly things for happiness, dying disappointed, returning to elements. Even heavenly rebirths are temporary stops within the cycle.
But when ignorance ceases,
the whole chain breaks. Compounded thought ceases, consciousness ceases, all the way down, leading to the final cessation of suffering, liberation.
When someone truly understands this wheel with wisdom, the book says they become dispassionate, detached, no secret in this world.
That wisdom is described as extraordinary. It reveals everything. Its brightness shows the mind, the whole world, the next world, all existences. Nothing is hidden.
The mind doesn't become non-self, but it lets go of attachment to all things that are non-self.
Exactly. It clears itself. It sees the inherent emptiness or voidness in phenomena and releases its grip.
Then comes calmness and cessation, a different kind of calm.
Very different from the earlier meditative calmness. This is a profound stillness that arises because attachment has been uprooted from the five aggregates, from the senses. It's the foundation for the extinguishing of the illusion of self.
And the direct result, the wheel of rebirth stops spinning.
Because ignorance, its driver, has ceased. Simple cause and effect, and then no more embers.
Meaning?
Suffering is just
Right.
extinguished, gone. All those factors, aggregates, becoming, existence, attachment, craving, ignorance, they cease function. They can't restart.
Even the physical senses don't perceive in the same way.
Because the consciousness tied to the cycle of suffering has ceased. The aggregates, the body, they're just utensils now, tools for navigating the world,
Oh.
but without the ignorant clinging that causes suffering.
Then there's this insightful knowing encompasses the world. When consciousness ceases, the mind knows by itself.
A solitary, pure knowing emerges. Free from consciousness as we knew it, free from aggregates, free from sense perception in the ordinary way.
Absolute knowing with no presupposition sounds paradoxical, small yet vast.
It does, covering beyond the three worlds. After this profound cessation, the mind can then gently pull back out a little, re-engage.
And gains extraordinary boldness, able to flatten mountains, metaphorically, of course.
Metaphorically, yes. It speaks to an incredible mental strength, clarity, and unwavering insight that allows for sustained, deep practice, potentially for months or years.
And from that boldness arises asavakanya.
Yes. The direct, insightful knowing that all impurities, all defilements, asavas, are completely gone, cleared out. This is what leads to the final attainment of noble fruition, no matter what posture you're in.
Which culminates in the world detaches from the mind and the fire is out.
In a single, acute mental moment, pure knowledge arises from the now pure mind. You just know. Noble fruition attained. The whole world shakes, metaphorically speaking.
This pure knowledge breaks the wheel completely.
Completely. free from all worldly bounds. It's the result of that continuous contemplating boldly with wisdom.
There's that Pali phrase.
Nibbāna viragavimugati. Yes.
Yeah.
It expresses dispassion, release, knowing one's liberated status, knowing the job is done, the holy life lived. Nothing more to be done in terms of cultivation.
No fire in his heart. The fire is out.
Completely extinguished. And this state of purity, the book stresses, is universal. It's the same for the Buddha, the same for any arahant. Timeless. No need to compare or announce it.
So noble ones just act normally. No flaunting.
Like water without a ripple. They understand their state is hard for others to grasp, but they teach out of compassion. The mind gains immense potency, even temporary physical strength, then settles into unwavering purity. No backsliding, no mundane ups and downs. The connection for rebirth is severed. The three worlds are closed off.
Wow. So bringing this all together then, the absolute core distinction is between that calm mind practice and the active contemplation with wisdom.
I've not emphasized that enough.
Yeah.
Samatha is groundwork. Vipassana, wisdom development, is the work that liberates. Wisdom and mindfulness are intensely active in real contemplation.
And the critical point, wisdom does not just pop out of calmness. You don't wait for it.
No, you cultivate it. You develop paññā, the making it happen. Wisdom, by actively applying your mind, your pondering thoughts, to see the true nature of things, like the body's loathsomeness or impermanence. It's self-development.
You have to be your own cook, your own physician. Take responsibility for your own insight.
That's the empowering message. It's an internal job that only you can do for yourself, through rigorous self-examination and wisdom cultivation.
And this path of vipassana leads through potential stages of noble fruition, stream enterer, once returner, no returner, arahant.
Right. Attainment involves those specific insights arising. Vipassanā-ñāṇa, makasamaga, savakayana, but it's an internal knowing, not about labels or announcements.
And it can happen anytime, anywhere, even skipping stages for some, layperson or monk.
Absolutely. It's about the development of wisdom and the purification of mind, not external conditions or status. The path is open.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the final thought for you, the listener?
Well, just reflect on this maybe slightly radical idea. Ultimate freedom isn't about escaping the world.
It's about turning inward, rigorously applying wisdom to everything you experience right here, right now.
Transforming this same old world, not by changing it, but by changing how you see it, how you relate to it, turning it into the very gateway to profound, unshakable purity.
So the question back to you is, what stream in your own life, maybe just a small one, might you begin to consciously go against today